Hey everybody, we're here at Upchurch Hall, home of the Animal Science Department on the campus of Auburn University, and today we're learning all about the careers in the equine industry and how the Animal Science Department is equipping students with hands-on experiences to enter the horse industry. Hey everybody, we're here at the Auburn University Equestrian Center and we're here with Dr. Courtney Heaton. So Dr. Heaton, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do in the College of Agriculture.
Awesome. So like Megan said, my name is Dr. Courtney Heaton and I am a lecturer and then also our state equine extension specialist. So I focus my lecturing on teaching the majority of the equine courses during the school year. Some of the classes are only offered in the fall, others in the spring. And then a lot of times during the summer, that's when I'm focusing on extension. So I'll help 4-H and FFA put on different contests such as horse judging, hippology, passive and active educational contests. I'll write articles for Alabama Cattlemen's on horses and help people if they have any kind of horse problem with their pastures and help kind of connect them with resources as well.
Okay, well can you show us a little bit around the center and maybe introduce us to one of the horses?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. So Dr. Heaton, tell us about the courses, the equine courses that you teach students here.
So fortunately we have a large variety of equine courses. So kind of the beginning course would be a Animal Science 1050 Intro to Equine Care and Use. And that course is designed if you have no horse experience, or maybe you are a business major or an art major and you just like horses, or you have horses back home and you miss them and you want to interact with horses, you can take that class. There's also people with a lifetime of horse experience in it. So in that one, I'll actually, during lab time, pair students up that have no experience and a lot of experience, and it gives an opportunity that there's a lot of peer-on-peer interaction, and for students, a lot of times it can make them feel more comfortable asking questions, but then also the more experienced students can help them out. And that one, because it's an introductory course, goes over everything from colors, markings, to breeds. They actually have the opportunity to give a presentation as a group on a breed of their choice, because there's over 350 horse and pony breeds, so we can't cover them all in class. Everything from history, use of the horse, taking care of teeth, feet, nutrition. So that's everything kind of encapsulated in that class.
So can you show us some of the things that the students are learning in class? Demonstrate it to us.
Sure. So for example, do you know what color this horse is, or what color would you say he is?
Brown.
There are brown horses, but he is actually not brown. So he is what you would call a sorrel or chestnut. So
it's a fancier.
Sorrel, yes. So he has a red body color, and it's actually the most recessive coat color. So if you breed two sorrel horses together, you'll always get a sorrel. And then depending on what discipline you're in, if you ride English, for example, there's no such thing as a sorrel. They're all chestnuts. So here's two of the more basic grooming tools. There are a bunch of different tools you can use. Everyone has their favorites, but this is a curry brush. And you're going to use this kind of in a circular motion, and that's going to be really good in lifting up any mud, dead hair, dirt, debris, all that good stuff. This is usually kind of the starting instrument. And it's really interesting. Horses actually don't have any muscles on their lower legs. So yeah, isn't that?
That's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Because they walk all the time.
They have a very intricate system of tendons and ligaments that kind of act like springs to help release energy and be very energy saving. So you don't want to use the curry comb on the lower legs And if you do so, you have to be very careful just because that is more
tender.
sensitive.
Yeah.
So curry comb is a really great place to start. They actually make smaller face curries because some horses, not huge fans of this because they do have, you know, kind of bonier features as well. So there's face curries too. So when you curry, I always kind of start front and I move my way kind of back. You don't have to put your hand in that little guy, but you can. But just a nice circular motion.
Do most horses like it?
Yes. So usually what I would do is curry the whole body and then I move on to my next brush. Okay. So this is a body brush. Some people also call it a dandy brush. And so when using this, you're kind of using a flicking motion. And that'll help kind of smooth out the coat. So one treat the horses out here love are peppermints. Have you ever given a treat to a horse before?
No.
Okay. So really important. He's like, yeah. He's like, I know you've got it. When you give them the treat, horses use their lips to grab. That's kind of the prehensile part. So just keep your hand nice and flat. And then that way he can just select off that mint and not a thumb. Don't worry, it doesn't hurt that bad to get bit when they're doing treats like this. So
they're really
just nice hat, flat.
Oh no!
My bad.
It's like, and fail. You failed a class. You dropped the mint.
Try to get your hand, because you're holding it kind of to the side, get it like under.
Okay.
Yeah. See, who would have ever known?
But you could fail at giving like this.
So under, like, give it to him a little faster. There you go.
Yeah! So why do you love horses so much?
That is a really hard one. It just makes sense to me. There's just a natural draw, you know, people for thousands of years, well before any kind of riding, you know, painting horses and art and on cave walls. But I do not come from a horsey family. It was fun looking back at my first birthday pictures was all horse themed, and my parents have no idea where that kind of desire came from. But I was really fortunate that they fostered that in me. I took lessons starting when I was 4. I didn't get my first horse till I was 20. So I think there's just a natural draw. It's a big stress reliever for me. And then if I, you know, have a little bit of a competitive drive, I can compete. So that's what I've been spending a lot of my summer doing, because I've had that kind of on the back burner for a little bit. So it's a way to challenge myself. It's relaxing, and it's just, you know, they have so much personality. They're just easy to bond with, and just to get to, that's hard to sum up exactly why I love them.
Yeah. Well, thanks for talking with us and sharing a little bit about what you do here.
Thanks so much for coming out. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Hey everybody, we're here in Seal, Alabama at Southeastern Veterinary Services, and we're going to be talking with Ryan Eads today. So Ryan, tell us a little bit about yourself and what we're going to be seeing today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Megan. My name is Ryan Eads. I am a College of Ag graduate from 2018. I am currently a territory manager with Beringer Ingelheim Equine. Today we're going to be at Southeast Equine Veterinary Services, seeing what Dr. Weldon and his team do for the equine industry and for the local horse owner.
So can we follow you around?
Yeah, come on, let's go.
So Ryan, tell us about what you do with BI. What's your work look like?
Sure, so I am a territory manager or a sales rep for Beringer Ingelheim Animal Health. I work on the equine side, so I get to support veterinarians in my territory. My territory covers Mississippi, Alabama, a little bit of Georgia, and a little bit of Florida. I work mostly with those equine veterinarians supporting their business. So supporting veterinarians can look a couple different ways, whether it's new products that we have, supporting them in the current products that they use out of our portfolio, really just trying to make sure that we're there for them and to support their business as best as we can through innovation and research as well.
Okay. So now, did you have an equine background? Have you
No.
been around horses?
No, I was around horses a little bit when I was younger. Sometimes during the Christmas holidays, we would go up to northern Tennessee and ride as a family. But quite honestly, Megan, I didn't even really have a large animal background to begin with. When I was thinking about where I wanted to go to college, I've wanted to be a veterinarian since I was 4 years old. That was my goal and my dream. But when it came time to decide where I was going to go to school, I actually started at Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College in Tifton, Georgia. At the time, they didn't have a full 4-year animal science program, so then I did transfer to Auburn. But quite honestly, I had no large animal experience, and thankfully for ABAC and for Auburn, that's where I gained a lot of that.
Okay, so how did you decide to do the sales managing, or the sales territory stuff?
Sure, yeah. I love getting to work with our people. I mean, I've said it a million times before, but I've got the best customers in the whole world. They're wonderful to work with, and they're always wanting to learn more, and I love being able to teach folks too. But when it came to sales, I started with Boehringer Ingelheim right after I graduated Auburn in 2018. My degree was in animal science with a concentration in production management.
So as with your work with BI and sales, so do you work with just established clients, or do you have to actually go out and find new clients?
Gotcha, yeah. So I do have established clients that I work with pretty regularly, but I do have flexibility to find new clients and build relationships with them as well.
So what do you actually do with the clients? Like, how do you really, like, the hands-on, what does it look like to work with them?
Sure, I can actually show you if you'd like.
That'd be great.
Come on. So we're out here with Dr. Daniel Weldon. He's doing a pre-purchase exam this morning.
Okay, cool.
So this is a pre-purchase exam. This horse is being looked at by a client to be used as a breakaway horse. And so we're just going to go through it, listen to its heart and lungs, check it out, flex it, x-ray its hocks, stifles, front feet, any other joints that we have any concerns with, and kind of make sure she knows what she's getting into and what she may be looking at as far as managing that horse down the road as she's showing and competing it.
Doc, what's the importance of doing this part in your exam?
So everybody kind of has their own way of doing it. I was taught to start high and then go low, so I do stifle, stifle, hock, hock, and then distal limb, and then I'll come back and repeat any flexions that I have concerns about. And then I'll also palpate soft tissue structures, in particular high suspensory attachments, and do a standalone flexion with those palpations and see how the horse responds to that. If there's any sensitivity. So this horse is going to need to be super quick from a standstill, stop hard on its hind end. So we're really paying attention to any soreness appreciated in her back, in her stifles, in her hocks, and any issues that we can potentially foresee that may be a problem for our customer. It's a nice little mare.
How do you take care of those problems if they arise?
So joint injections, and there's a couple different products that we use. And we 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So steroids and high visc is kind of the mainstay for what we consider a maintenance injection in a performance horse. And the biggest thing is, if you've got a horse that is sore, but there's not a particular issue in that joint and it's just synovitis, you want to address that and not let that synovitis erode that cartilage and cause a problem. And the human factor is, when I'm on a horse competing and it gets injected and it feels better and it does its job better, when that medicine wears off and that horse starts to get sore again, 9, 10 months, a year later, you know, as a competitor, you're going to want that edge again. And so that's a lot of what we do is kind of helping these guys feel their best so that they have a little bit of a competitive edge.
So Ryan, talk to us a little bit more about your your Auburn experience. What was that like for you, and how did you make that decision not to do pre-vet or not to go into vet school?
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, I did my first 3 years at ABAC in South Georgia, and at the time they didn't have a full 4-year animal science program. At that time, I said that I had to transfer. I'm so glad that I got to go to Auburn. And so when I got to Auburn, I was really grateful that I kind of had a foundation already of, okay, this is what I want to do. Now it's just going to be on a bit of a larger scale. It was really hard for me to swallow the pill of not going to vet school. But I had amazing advisors and mentors that kind of walked me through what that was going to look like if I didn't go to vet school. And so many opportunities came up, more than I ever thought that would. And so when I worked with my advisors and my mentors and I said, okay, vet school's not it, now what? My mentors and advisors were instrumental in helping me kind of filter through all the different things out there that I wasn't even aware of. And so whether it was research or development or working for a drug manufacturer, I mean, there's more jobs and more opportunities out there than even I know today. And so I'm really grateful that they really helped me through that at Auburn.
Yeah. What are some of the things that you think you did? Because I'm guessing BI is pretty competitive to get a job with. So what are just some things that you think you did right in setting yourself up for that success and getting hired?
Yeah, so when you're a college student, we hear all the time about networking. It doesn't stop. And so when I got to BI, I didn't just take my first job in customer care and say, okay, I'm good here. I continued to work with other people in different departments. I even went so far as to sit with other people in our office cafeteria just to introduce myself and say, hey, I'm Ryan, I'm in customer care, and that says a lot to people. I know even myself, it's really important when young professionals come up to me at career fairs and introduce themselves and shake their hands, and that's huge. I think another big piece was that I make it a goal of mine to never stop learning, because there's always something to learn, especially in animal health and in equine medicine too. I'm so grateful that my customers allow me to learn from them every single day, because I love to share what I know, and they love to share back.
So how do you keep learning? What are some of the things that you're doing?
Yeah, so when it comes to medicine as a whole, but specifically equine medicine, things always change. And so I definitely make it a priority of mine to continue to do research, whether that's on my own or with my veterinarians. Sometimes when I visit with my vets, it's a true sit down, let's talk about your business, how can I best support you? But sometimes it's just a checking in of, hey, how are things going? That's usually where I learn a lot of what may be going on in the industry that I may not have been made aware of previously.
So there's stuff that you can take back to BI and be like, hey, we need to be looking into this.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes a lot of the products that come to fruition are because of things that we're seeing in the real world. Yeah.
Really cool. Hey everybody, we're here with Dr. Maddie, and she's going to show us around today and show us a little bit about what she's doing. So Dr. Maddie, introduce yourself.
I'm Dr. Maddie. I'm an Auburn grad from 2011, and I am a chiropractor for people and animals, mainly horse and rider teams. So I go around to barns, adjust the horse, adjust their rider, and get them ready and in sync to work together for whatever discipline that they do.
All right. Well, can you show us a little bit about your work with horses?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. So Dr. Maddie, tell us about your horse and what it is that you actually do.
Yes, so this is my pony Toaster. He's retired. He doesn't do much except for go for little plots around the field and everything, and he obviously just gets adjusted every time I'm in town for fun because he's done his job and gotten retired. But what I do as a chiropractor is I create more ease in your central nervous system, that being your brain's connection to your body's connection back to your brain. And so how I do that is, a lot of people when they think about chiropractors probably think of the structural pop crack kind of chiropractic, but what I do is a fluid and fascia dynamic movement based adjustment, which just means it looks like I'm doing a lot less than those big movements that chiropractors usually do with the pops and the cracks in the neck. I'm creating more available space in the entire geometry of how you or your horse stand up under gravity. So basically, my little analogy is if a structural chiropractor is looking to affect change in your central nervous system, they kind of looking at you as a ship on the sea, want to take over as captain of your ship. So they're charting the course and they're turning the wheel and they're making sure we're floating in the right direction. They want to see you a couple more times a week. What I do is I kind of look at the way that your ship is going, and I look at where you want to go, and I change the tide underneath so you stay captain and you drift in that direction. Either way, what we're doing is creating more adaptability in your brain and body's main highway of communication, so that no matter what happens in life, may it be something physical like you fall off your horse, or something visceral like your diet hasn't been great for a month, or being something mentally and emotionally stressful, we can create more bandwidth for your body to process and deal with all of that.
That's really fascinating. So what kind of stresses are horses holding on to?
So horses are really cool animals just because they are wildly emotionally intelligent. They can hear a human heartbeat from like all the way across like a football field's length and everything. They're very intuitive creatures, so they take on a lot. They're also naturally prey animals, so their body's fight or flight response is actually a lot quicker than even ours. So in the wild, they have to kind of adapt and look like not the weakest one in the herd when they're running away from a predator. So they go from fight or flight, being sympathetic, being the stressor holding aspect of your nervous system, to rest digest, parasympathetic, being the easygoing, calm side of your nervous system, really quickly. So when we adjust them, you're able to see the change really quickly because their bodies pick up and process that, oh, it's time to integrate and create more bandwidth and let go of some of that fight or flight. And then because they're riding animals, we have different kinds of physical stressors because their bodies aren't really made for a human to sit on them, much like humans' bodies aren't really initially thought of to be on top of a horse. So we've created new geometry when a person sits on top of a horse that they now have to integrate in their whole being. So we can create more bandwidth for them to deal with that kind of physical stress in the riding.
I've never thought about it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So Dr. Maddie, tell us where we are now and who we're with.
All right, so we're at the farm at Sand Dollar here in Auburn with one of my favorite clients, Emmeline and Kane. And we're going to look a little bit more into the horse and rider dynamic and how I adjust them as a team. And so we'll see them ride, we'll do a little bit of like a tune-up kind of exercise, show you how the things change, and then we'll get them both adjusted after their ride.
Emmeline, tell us about Kane and what you do. Like, you're on the eventing team, so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm a student at Auburn and I ride on the eventing club team, and this is Kane. He's 8 years old. So what we do is we do jumping, and so we travel around the southeast and we go to different venues like in Atlanta and South Carolina, and we just jump around, usually a 2-day event.
Okay. So why is it so important for you to get adjusted and for Kane to get adjusted?
When we first got him, he didn't get adjusted and he was like super sore all the time and not moving right, and we weren't really sure what's up. And then we found Dr. Maddie and she started adjusting him, and he just felt better in all the ways. He's able to loosen up more, and it loosens me up, and we're just able to connect better when we're not as stiff.
Okay. So can you show us how you ride and how you adjust the rider and make that all work together?
Oh, yes.
Yay!
So we're gonna watch Emmeline ride. I do a lot of watching the horse, watching the rider. So I'm gonna try and point out to you some things that Kane's doing and then some things that Emmeline's doing. And so I'll have him trot away from us. Once we'll watch the horse, once we'll watch her. and then I'll kind of talk to you about how that's affecting the both of them as a pair. Right now, I'm just watching her. I've already kind of adjusted Emmeline and Kane a couple of times, so I know a little bit of their spots. That right hind of his is a little bit lazy, if you will, but he's gonna come around and you see she's picking this direction first. That outside leg is the one that we generally see gets a little bit slower, and I'm already looking at him kind of dragging it. You see him kicking up the dust in the hind end a little bit more. We want to see him be a little bit quicker with those legs. Now watching the rider here, this is where we see Emmeline's body is a little bit, and it's hard to tell for sure, but it's a little bit pitched forward on that left hip. She is a little bit more kind of rotated internally in that left side of her body. So she's shut off a little bit more. It's hard to tell in her shoulders because she's got a nice square upright posture. She's a very good little rider, but we just are leading a little bit with our diaphragm, and so we're kind of always trying to catch up. So she's falling forward a little bit on that left side, which is making it harder for her to get connected with his right hind. So this is where those two body types are just kind of like clashing. They're almost like lending to each other's bad habits because they're a team and they've kind of agreed upon some bad habits, if you will. So what we're gonna do, this is something that I offer for a lot of my clients, and first-time clients like this a lot because then they can kind of feel and see the difference really quickly. But what we're gonna do here is just a small little tweak. It's not a full adjustment, but just so you can feel the difference. So while Emmeline was riding, we talked about that internal rotation, and I'm gonna exaggerate it, but she's kind of like this and like this on the horse. And then this right hip, she's having to lean all the way on it. So when she goes to the right, she's kind of tipping over because of that internal rotation. So what I'm gonna do is open up that left hip for her. So she's got a nice base here. And I'm gonna release the lower part of her ribs on this side so she can straighten up like this when we're going to the right. So we can sit in this side, lift and turn. So then with Kane's adjustment, we're going to do that quickness in that right hind. I'm gonna get that hip a little bit further underneath him so he has the bandwidth to step out a little bit further, and then we're just gonna give it a place to land here in that lower cervical spine so he can lift up as well with her. So we're just gonna make the team mirror each other a little bit more efficiently.
And so that will just help them ride faster and do
It'll
the jumps
help
that you
their
need.
nervous system communicate more efficiently. Now we're gonna see, after they've integrated a little bit, you can see how much further that right hind is coming up underneath him, and it's tracking inside again, which I love. And then Emmeline is taking a moment here. See how far she's standing up out of the saddle now? Because she's actually pushing herself, trying to get that catched rhythm again.
Yeah. That's really cool. That's really cool. So how big is the industry? How many horse chiropractors or animal chiropractors are out there?
I would say that there's growing numbers, but there are very few of us. There's not a lot of us. That's why I end up traveling from Florida all the way to New York and out to California every year.
Yeah.
And so there's not enough. There should be more.
Yeah, so you started your business and you're essentially traveling. How far away are you traveling to?
I will travel this year. I've already been out to California to do horses. I go to Texas. I go to Kentucky. I go to every state between Florida and New York, in between, all in there. I will be in Michigan at the end of summer, and I will actually be traveling all the way to Finland to adjust with some chiropractors that actually do my specific technique as well over there, just because there's even fewer animal chiropractors that are chiropractors traditionally that are doing this style.
That's really cool. So lots of opportunities to travel.
Lots to travel,
see the
but
US.
also lots of opportunities to stay local. I mean, if you are someone that rides horses, that's how you start finding your people and getting your hands on horses. And there you will be in your community and at a horse show, and there's just hundreds of horses to do right there. So you can take it as far as you want, but there's also plenty of opportunity to stay even just in one state and do that whole state. And you know, if you're going through the program and you want to learn from me, then I'm going to refer a lot of people to you because I
Yeah.
can't get everywhere
Yeah.
all the time.
That's right. It's really cool what you're doing and the lifestyle that you're leading.
Oh yeah,
It's
super
unique.
fun.
I love it. So talk to us about, you serve as a mentor in the Ag Alumni Mentoring Program. So tell us about that experience.
I do. I love that experience, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to do it. Like I mentioned earlier, I have had mentors in the past, but I wasn't ever really involved as a student in the alumni mentoring program, and I wish I would have been. I love giving back to those students who may be in a position where I was at one time of, I want to be a veterinarian, but I'm not sure if I'm going to go to vet school, and if I don't go to vet school, what's next for me as an animal science grad? That was a really hard conversation I had to have with myself, but I love being able to give back to those students and say, hey, I see you, I've got you, I'm rooting for you to go to vet school. We need more veterinarians in this industry, whether that's small or large animal. But for those that maybe don't quite get there or say, hey, I kind of had a change of heart, there are other opportunities out there, more than they ever could imagine.
So what advice do you give to students who are wanting to enter the industry? What should they be doing now while they're in school?
Definitely take the classes that interest you, even if it means not graduating in 4 years, or instead of sleeping in over the summer, going and doing internships, study abroads. I like to think of it as a try before you buy. So if you think you have a vague interest in equine reproduction, it would not be very fun if you get to college, you accept a position, and you're like, I hate waking up in the middle of the night, right? So definitely immerse yourself and find out not only what you like, but also what you don't like. So for example, I would not be very happy in a job where I had to ride 20 horses a day. Or my paycheck depended on how my horse did in a competition. That'd be very stressful for me. I also wouldn't want to be in a barn 14 hours a day, but other people don't want any kind of office position, or they want to travel. So being some kind of sales representative or regional manager would be for them. If you want to be home all the time, taking a job like that would not be for you. So really just letting students kind of get out and experience the things that interest them. Because I know one of my biggest regrets was not taking a semester off to do an internship that I really wanted.